Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is Pastor Eric, the Associate Pastor of Lyndhurst Baptist Church on the west side of Indy and Indiana State Chaplain for Broken Chains JC, with the encouraging word for Friday, December 26, 2025. And today is known as the Feast of Saint Stephen. And so we're going to look at a couple of writings from the early church fathers, and this comes out of a book called Advent and Christmas with the church fathers. And so the first section we're going to look at is from Fulgentius of Ruspe, from his writings, Sermons for the Feast of St. Stephen 1, 3 through 6. And he writes, Yesterday we celebrated our eternal King's birth into time. Today we celebrate the triumphant passion of the soldier. Indeed, yesterday our King deigned to visit the world, bearing our flesh by coming forth from the womb of the Virgin. Today the soldier, coming forth from the tent of his body, has entered triumphantly into heaven. The former, while preserving the majesty of his eternal divinity, descended to fight on the battlefield of the world. The latter, stripped of the corruptible garment of the body, ascended to the heavenly palace to reign in eternity. The former descended bearing the flesh, while the latter ascended crowned with martyrdom. The latter ascended stoned by the Jews, because the former had descended among the jubilation of the angels. Yesterday the holy angels sang, "Glory to God in the highest," Luke 2:14. Today they welcome Stephen into their ranks. Yesterday the Lord came forth from the womb of the Virgin. Today the soldier came forth from the prison of the flesh. Yesterday Christ was wrapped in swaddling clothes for us. Today Stephen was clothed by him with the stole of immortality. Yesterday the narrow space of a manger welcomed Christ the child. Today the immensity of heaven triumphantly welcomed Stephen. And the soldier that Fulgentius is talking about there is Stephen, who was the first Christian martyr stoned in the book of Acts. He was a man who was set aside by the apostles to be a deacon, a helper, so that the apostles could devote themselves to teaching and preaching in prayer. And so the next part that we're going to look at is from Augustine, from his sermons 3:15-7. Whoever believes in me will do the works that I do, and will do greater ones than these. John 14:12. These were the words of Jesus to his disciples. And actually, this is kind of a preface to this writing. Stephen understood them well and put them into practice, just as his teacher had done on the cross by forgiving his persecutors in the final moments of his life. This is the imitation of Christ. And what about us? A little bit of important advice comes to us from the holy Kyrie of Ars. When the devil stirs up feeling of hatred within us towards those who have hurt us, the only way to catch him off guard is to pray for them immediately. This is how you can defeat evil with good, and this is what it means to be holy. So Augustine writes, Christ teaches the rule of mercy from the podium of the cross. He has Stephen as a disciple who imitates him. What Stephen was in his humility, Christ was in a sublime manner. What Stephen did while turned to the ground, Christ effectuated while hung to the cross. Indeed, Recall that it was Christ himself who said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Luke 23:34. He stood up at the podium of the cross and taught the rules of mercy. O good teacher, you spoke well and you taught us rightly. Here is your disciple who prays for your enemies and prays for his murderers. Teacher, the creature how to imitate. Teach the creature how to imitate the Creator, the victim to imitate the mediator, the man how to imitate the God man. The God, Christ, as a man upon the cross, taught us unquestionably when he said in a clear voice, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And so much about today's writings, I think in particular about Augustine's writings, are counterculture. Because in this day and age, we're taught that if somebody hurts you, then you hurt them back. Or better yet, hurt them before they hurt you. And yet, clearly, Christ prayed for the forgiveness of those who were his enemies, that were literally in the process of murdering him. And God has called us to the same kind of humility. And I know humility is not something that is particularly valued in our culture, and yet it is so important that we, as followers of Jesus Christ, we are called to imitate Jesus. In Micah, it says, what is required of man? And there are three things that are mentioned. It's to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. Did you catch that? Just three things. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. So today, let us strive to do those three things. I'm Pastor Eric, and that is your encouraging word for today.